So good afternoon, students. Let us start the class. See, many students didn't enter the meeting. See, your time is sharp by 1:10. Okay, 1:10 you have to enter into the class. Already we are getting only 1 hour class every day. If you are coming late, then you will be missing the topics. Fine. So yesterday we discussed about the introduction part, right? So I gave you the introduction about what is health, what is diseases, and we saw some non-communicable diseases, right? Then we discussed about the introduction of communicable disease. I told you what is the what is meant by communicable disease or infectious disease. Then we discussed some of the important terminologies that you need to know about communicable diseases. I gave you some scientists to name. They were participating in the communicable disease, a very important role. Okay. So then we discussed about the two different modes of transmission of communicable disease. So the direct mode of transmission and indirect mode of transmission. Okay. And finally, the last concept yesterday we discussed is the defense system in human body. So the defense system in human body, when communicable diseases are infected in us, this how your immune system will protect your body. So we have three different lines of defense. The first line of defense is our skin and mucous membrane. Okay. Second line of defense is the phagocytosis process and inflammatory response that occurs in our body. And the third line of defense is the specific immunity, where the antibody production will take place against the foreign particle that enters into the body. Okay. Right. So in the starting, I told you three important concepts we are going to discuss in this chapter. The first concept is diseases part. The second concept is immunology part, where you will study about the immune system, the different types of immunity, everything. And the third part I told you is the drug addiction part. Okay, right. So as we have completed the introduction yesterday, so today we can start with the first concept in this lesson. The first concept in this lesson, what we are going to start today is diseases part. So first, let me tell you what are the diseases we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay. So we are going to discuss the diseases caused by protozoans. Okay. You know well about protozoa. Protozoans you have studied under kingdom Protista, right? In your biological classification chapter, you studied the 5 kingdom level of classification. So the first one is kingdom Monera, which includes unicellular prokaryote. The second one is kingdom Protista, which includes the unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Okay. So that they are said in under Protista, one group of Protista are called as the protozoan protist. So the first topic what we are going to discuss is some diseases caused by protozoan. We are not going to discuss all the diseases caused by protozoans. Important few diseases we will discuss. Okay. And next one we are going to see diseases that are caused by helminths. You know helminths in animal kingdom, you studied platyhelminths and aschelminths, right? Helminths means worms. Okay. Students are not able to hear. Students, are you able to hear or not? Are you able to hear my voice? Audio is not audible. Please check your internet. Yes. Okay. Fine. Okay, ma. Okay, thank you. So the second one is the diseases caused by helminths. Helminths means in general, wherever you see the word helminths, it represents worms. Okay. So platyhelminths means flat worms. Aschelminths means round worms. Okay. So the worms, some worms like tapeworm, roundworm, filarial worm. Okay. So they will cause some diseases in human body, and those things we are going to discuss. And then we are going to discuss the diseases caused by fungal organisms. Okay. Some fungal organisms. We have so many skin infections and all. So we will discuss some of the important diseases caused by fungal organisms. Then the diseases that are caused by bacteria. The diseases that are caused by virus. So this bacterial disease and viral disease, we will see so many diseases under bacteria and virus. Okay. And then these are some of the communicable disease we are going to discuss. And in the diseases part, apart from these diseases caused by a group of organisms, we are going to discuss two important diseases. And for that two important diseases, we are going to discuss everything. So one is AIDS. You are going to study about AIDS. The second one we are going to study about is cancer. Okay, AIDS and cancer. You will study everything. So what is AIDS? What is cancer? Okay, and what are the symptoms, causes? Then what is that? Prevention methods, prevention and control methods. Okay, treatment methods, everything. You will study about these two diseases in detail. So the AIDS and cancer, these two diseases are set to like you may expect a 5-mark question from these two diseases. Okay, so these are the concepts we are going to discuss under diseases part. So first let us start with diseases caused by protozoa. Okay, that is some protozoal diseases we are going to discuss. So what are the protozoal diseases? Okay, so let me start. You can copy the slide, students. These are the things we are going to discuss under this topic. Protozoal diseases, helminthic diseases, fungal diseases, bacterial diseases, viral diseases. Apart from these diseases, two important diseases we are going to see in detail. One is AIDS, another one is cancer. Okay. So once if you are done with this slide, I can move on to the first diseases part, that is the diseases caused by protozoans. Under this diseases caused by protozoans, we are going to discuss 4 important diseases, and in these 4 diseases, one of the disease is going to be a very, very important 5-mark question from this chapter. Okay. So let me show you the next slide. So the first disease what we are going to discuss is protozoan diseases. The diseases caused by protozoans are called as protozoan diseases. So first let me tell what are the diseases we are going to discuss. Under this protozoal diseases, we are going to discuss about 4 important diseases. The first one is malaria, which is a very, very important one. This is a 5-mark question, important 5-mark question. I will tell you what question they will ask from this malaria part. And then second disease is amoebiasis, also called as amoebic dysentery. The third disease what we are going to discuss is Kala-Azar disease. Kala-Azar, okay. And the fourth disease is sleeping sickness. Sleeping sickness disease, okay. These are the 4 diseases we are going to discuss under protozoal diseases. Now let me start the malaria, okay. So malaria is a very, very important 5-mark question. So first let me start with malaria. Only malaria we are going to see in detail. The remaining 3 diseases you will just study about the causative organism and what are the symptoms there will be during these infections. Okay. So malaria alone we are going to see in detail about the life cycle of Plasmodium. The other name for amoebiasis is amoebic dysentery. Amoebiasis can be also called as amoebic dysentery. Dysentery, you know, right? Diarrhea, dysentery we used to have if there is any stomach upset. So that amoebic dysentery is also called as don't worry now. Okay. While taking amoebiasis, I will tell you in detail. Now you just concentrate in malaria. Okay. Fine. So before going to this malaria in depth, first let me tell you, actually under this malaria, there are 4 important species of causative organism that causes malaria in human beings. I hope like you would have studied this causative organism in biological classification chapter itself. So the name of the organism that causes malaria is the species of Plasmodium. Okay. So first write down the causative organism that is responsible for causing malaria. The causative organism that causes malaria is species of Plasmodium. Plasmodium is a protozoa which causes malaria in human beings. Okay, because we are going to study about the diseases only in human beings. So that's why the chapter name is Human Health and Disease. We are not going to discuss about any other diseases of animals. Okay, so causes malaria in human. So as I told now, there are 4 species of Plasmodium that can causes malaria in human. So you write down the 4 species of Plasmodium. So first I will write down the name, then I will tell you the difference between them. Okay. So you first write down the name of the species of Plasmodium or the name of the malaria. Okay. So the Plasmodium species that causes malaria, the first species is said to be Plasmodium vivax. Okay. The second one is Plasmodium. Hereafter I will write P full stop, which means Plasmodium ovale. The first one is genus name. The second one is species name. The third species is Plasmodium malariae. And the last species is Plasmodium falciparum. These are the 4 important species of Plasmodium that causes malaria in human. Now I am going to tell you some difference between these 4 organisms. Let me write here itself. So the first one, Plasmodium vivax. Okay. So this Plasmodium vivax, it causes malaria, and the malaria is called as benign tertian malaria. The name of the malaria that is caused by Plasmodium vivax is, Plasmodium vivax organism is called as benign tertian malaria. Okay, TERTIAN malaria, benign tertian malaria. And the name of the malaria that is caused by Plasmodium ovale is called as ovale tertian malaria. It is called as ovale tertian malaria. And the third one is Plasmodium malariae. Okay, the species itself called as malariae, and it causes a malaria which is called as quartan malaria. This is called as quartan malaria. And the last one, Plasmodium falciparum. So this one causes a malaria. This malaria is having many different names. The first name is malignant tertian malaria. It is called as malignant tertian malaria, also called as pernicious malaria. You know what do you mean by pernicious, students? Pernicious means fatal. That is, which means it will lead to death. Okay, it will lead to death. Pernicious malaria, also called as cerebral malaria. All are other names of this malignant tertian malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum. Okay. So Plasmodium falciparum causes malignant tertian malaria, also called cerebral malaria, also called as pernicious malaria. So out of these 4 species, 2 species are said to be worldwide in distribution. You know what are the 2 species? One is Plasmodium vivax, another one is Plasmodium falciparum. These 2 species of Plasmodium are worldwide in distribution, which means these 2 species can be seen in all the countries of the world. But Plasmodium ovale and Plasmodium malariae, these 2 species are not like that. They are restricted only in certain countries. Okay. Suppose I am just telling you information that is not needed. Plasmodium ovale, you can see this plasmodial organism only in South America and West Africa. And Plasmodium malaria, no, it will be seen only in tropical areas. So these 2 organisms, they are restricted in specific areas. But Plasmodium falciparum, these 2 Plasmodium species, they are worldwide in distribution. If any organism is present everywhere, they are present, the distribution is everywhere, then you can call it as cosmopolitan. Okay, cosmopolitan means worldwide in distribution. So you can write this word, cosmopolitan. Who are cosmopolitan? Plasmodium vivax and Plasmodium falciparum are cosmopolitan. In bracket, you write cosmopolitan means worldwide in distribution. They can be seen in all countries all over the world. Okay. So this is, and out of these 4 malaria, which one of them is very, very fatal condition, in the sense Plasmodium falciparum causing malignant tertian malaria. This malignant tertian malaria, no, it directly affects your brain. That's why it is called as cerebral malaria. Once it affects the brain, it may lead to death. Okay. The other remaining 3 types of malaria is not fatal. But the last one, malignant tertian malaria, will lead to fatal condition. That means it can lead to death of an organism, the death of the human. Okay, so I'll show you the slide for few seconds. You just copy this. Students, yesterday itself I told you have to be little bit faster. Okay, so which is commonly, yeah, which malaria is commonly affecting the human population means it is Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium vivax is the organism which commonly affects human population. Okay, fine. Have you written? Shall I move on to the next one? Yes, now move on to the next concept. I will tell you some. Now, today, under this Plasmodium species, we are going to see some information about this Plasmodium vivax. Why I am choosing this Plasmodium vivax means this is the most common species of Plasmodium that affects the human population. Okay, not only Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium falciparum. These two species are found everywhere in the world. Okay, but the most common malaria that occurs in human population is the benign tertian malaria, which is caused by Plasmodium vivax. So I am going to describe about the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. Before going to the life cycle, let me tell you this Plasmodium vivax organism, it is said to be digenetic parasite. So what do you mean by digenetic parasite? I will tell you. Okay. So digenetic means, di means two, you know. Okay. It will uses two living organisms for its life cycle. You know what are the two living organisms? Malaria will be caused by a vector. Vector is what? Mosquito. Mosquito is a vector. So this Plasmodium is carried by mosquito and it is causing the disease malaria in man. So who are the two organisms that Plasmodium uses them in the sense? One is mosquito. Mosquito is an insect and another one is human, man. Okay. So as it is using two living organism as host, both mosquito and man will act as a host for this organism and it is a parasite. Already I have told you what is parasite. Parasite means it cannot live independently. It will live in the body of another living organism for its food, shelter, reproduction, multiplication, and finally it will causes diseases also. Okay, so in mosquito and man, only man will get the disease called as malaria. Mosquito will not get the disease called as malaria when it is carrying. Okay, and in mosquito, the exact species of mosquito is the female Anopheles mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito is the one which carries the Plasmodium organism and it will take to the man. So when this mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito, which is having this Plasmodium vivax, when it bites the man, the Plasmodium will enter into the body of the human and there the man will get infected by this malarial disease. Okay, so it is having two hosts. Digenetic parasite means, if you are not understanding what is digenetic parasite, you can write two hosts. If a parasite is having two hosts, then it is called as digenetic. Okay, now tell me, if a parasite is having only one host, how can you call that? If a parasite is living in only one host body, how can you call that? You can call it as digenetic parasite, monogenetic parasite. Very good. Okay, so if it is going to live in only one host, then it is called as monogenetic. Okay, so but this Plasmodium organism is not monogenetic because it is going to live in mosquito body at the same time in human body, but it is going to infect the man and not the mosquito. So as it is having two hosts, it is called as digenetic parasite. Okay, and human, always keep it in mind, students, to which organism it is going to cause the disease. That organism will be called as the primary host. So human is called as the primary host and mosquito is called as the secondary host because mosquito will not be affected by disease. Okay, so human is considered to be the primary host. Okay, fine. Now we are going to discuss about the life cycle of Plasmodium. So please put the heading life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. Hope you all have studied this life cycle of Plasmodium in your 11th standard biological classification chapter. You should have studied there. If you didn't study there, no problem. Now I will teach you the complete to my students. Already in biological classification chapter itself, I taught this life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. Okay, but now as many school students are there, I won't bother about like teaching again once again. So I will tell you the complete life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. So this life cycle of Plasmodium vivax, it follows two different types of reproduction. One is it is going to follow asexual reproduction. In this life cycle of Plasmodium vivax, it will follow two different types of reproduction, asexual and also sexual reproduction. Now question is, asexual reproduction in which organism? Actually, it is having two hosts now. One is mosquito, another one is man. In mosquito also it follows the reproduction, and man also it will attain the reproduction process. And in which host it will do asexual, and in which host it will do sexual. Asexual reproduction will take place in human, and sexual reproduction will take place in the mosquito body. Okay. So sexual reproduction will take place in the female Anopheles mosquito, and asexual reproduction will take place in the human body. So now let us start with the asexual reproduction and let us end up with sexual reproduction. You know what is life cycle? Life cycle means where I am starting, the life cycle will go through different stages and finally it will end up in the same place. That is called a cycle. Okay. So I am going to discuss you the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax. Let me start with asexual and let me complete with sexual. Okay. So shall we start the life cycle? Students, this life cycle of Plasmodium vivax is an important, very, very, very important 5 mark for your board. Every year from this chapter, they are asking this 5 mark question. You have to completely draw the life cycle. There will be one diagram in your NCERT. If you have your NCERT, you can refer. There will be one big life cycle of mosquito, this Plasmodium vivax. You have to draw the diagram and also you have to explain in the theory. Okay. So let us start with the asexual reproduction. I think I can start. Yes, students, you are ready? Asexual reproduction in man. Okay. So please, please, please listen carefully. It will attain so many steps. Okay. So many stages are there when it enters into each and every cell of your body. So please draw this flowchart perfectly in your class note, because in your NCERT, most of the steps will be missing. They will be given only the important steps of the Plasmodium, not all the steps of the Plasmodium, but when teaching, I will tell you all the important steps. So we can start, put the heading. First, we are going to see the asexual reproduction of man. Am I right? Shall I tell asexual reproduction of man? Whom? Asexual reproduction of whom? No. Okay, then whom? Asexual reproduction of mosquito. Plasmodium. Okay. Asexual reproduction of Plasmodium vivax in man. So please write the heading properly. In a hurry, don't write asexual reproduction of man, then meaning will become wrong totally. Okay. Asexual reproduction of Plasmodium vivax in man, because this Plasmodium vivax protozoa is going to undergo asexual reproduction in the human body. Okay. Right. Now, when asexual reproduction of Plasmodium vivax will take place in man, it will take place in a normal man or in the infected man? Tell me. Plasmodium vivax will be present in a normal healthy man or in an infected man, malaria infected man. In whom it will be present? It cannot be present in a normal healthy man, right? Only it will be present in an infected man. So your flowchart should start with the infected man. Okay, you please keep this in your mind. Finally, you have to finish your life cycle with the infected man, because you are starting with infected man. And the life cycle should end where you started, right? So origin is from infected man in the sense, then you have to finish it up from the infected man, with this infected man. Okay. Now, how this infected man would have got this Plasmodium vivax in his body? Through the bite of a female Anopheles mosquito. Okay. So the infected man have Plasmodium vivax through female Anopheles I will write it in a flowchart, students. You please follow the flowchart and copy it properly. So infected man would have got this Plasmodium vivax through female Anopheles mosquito, which is carrying the which has been carrying this what Plasmodium vivax. Okay, so female Anopheles mosquito carrying, because all female Anopheles mosquito will not have this Plasmodium vivax. Okay, you cannot simply say in Anopheles mosquito all the female will have Plasmodium. Only the mosquito which is carrying this Plasmodium vivax, when it bite a normal man, the normal man will become an infected man. So the infected man have Plasmodium vivax through the bite of female Anopheles mosquito carrying the protozoa Plasmodium vivax. Okay, carrying the protozoan Plasmodium vivax. Okay, now we are going to start your flowchart through this infected man. Now you keep it in your mind. This sentence is just for your understanding how the man got this Plasmodium vivax in his body. Okay, now we have to start from this infected man. Right. Now, before infection, you just keep it in your mind. You wait. I will not fine. So now the man who has got the bite of female Anopheles mosquito, through this female Anopheles mosquito, the Plasmodium vivax will enter into his body. Okay, so when entering into his body, this Plasmodium vivax, first in what stage it will enter? So the Plasmodium vivax enters into human body. The Plasmodium vivax enters into human body through by means of an infective stage. In which stage it will enter into the human body? By means of the infective stage. So can anybody tell me what is the infective stage of Plasmodium? Can you give your answers in your chat? What is the infective stage of Plasmodium for human? By means of the infective stage of Plasmodium called? Yes, give your answer. Very good. Only one answer. Others don't know. The infective stage of Plasmodium is called as sporozoites. So this is a very, very important neat question. Okay, you please underline this. So in each and every step, you please highlight the name of the stage. Okay, so the first stage through which the Plasmodium vivax enters into the human body through this female Anopheles mosquito is the infective stage of Plasmodium, which we call it as sporozoites. Okay, so this sporozoites, after entering into the human body, now hereafter I will continue the arrow mark like this so that it is going to be the further steps. Okay, now the sporozoite will enter into the human first. After this sporozoites enters into the human body, right, where it will enter? First it will enter into the blood. Whose blood? Man's blood. Okay, it will enter into the human's blood from the mosquito. So when a mosquito is biting you, what it is actually doing? It is sucking blood, okay, from your body. So when a female Anopheles mosquito is biting a normal man, then what will happen? The female Anopheles mosquito, if it is carrying the Plasmodium vivax, then vivax which is present in the salivary gland of the mosquito, it will carry the protozoan Plasmodium vivax. You can write it here. Plasmodium vivax in the salivary gland. The mosquito will carry the protozoa in the salivary gland. Okay, and the Plasmodium will be present in the salivary gland. When this mosquito bite a person, the Plasmodium which is present in the salivary gland, it will enter into the blood of the man. So how it will enter? By means of an infective stage called the sporozoite. So the sporozoite enter into human's blood with the saliva, with the saliva of mosquito. Okay, during the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. Right, now the sporozoites has entered into the human blood. Now it will remain in the blood for long time, it will remain in the blood. After releasing the sporozoids, it remains in the blood. After remaining in, it will remains in, the sporozoid will remains in the blood for about half an hour. It will circulate in your blood about for half an hour. Once the sporozoids are released by the female Anopheles mosquito with its saliva, now the sporozoids which has entered into the human's blood during the bite, the sporozoid will be circulating in your blood, or it will be remaining in the blood for about half an hour. And after half an hour, I will continue. After half an hour, what will happen? The sporozoids will move into the liver. Now, the sporozoids move into the, from the blood, it will go to the liver. Okay. Now, the second organ that is involving in the infection is liver. The first organ is blood. So, first when it is released in your blood, after releasing in your blood, it will be circulating in your blood for half an hour. Okay. After half an hour, through the blood, it will enter into the next organ that is called your liver. Okay. So it will directly, the sporozoids will be moved into your liver, and now the process is going to take place, it will start taking place in your liver. So please keep it in your mind. From here, we are going to start the different stages. So sporozoids move into the liver means where the sporozoids will be now, it will be present inside your liver. And what is the special cells present in your liver? Hepatic cells. Now the sporozoids will be present in hepatic cells. They will enter into the hepatic cells of your liver. After entering into the hepatic cells of your liver, it will undergo nuclear division. It will undergo nuclear division. Which will undergo nuclear division? The sporozoids will undergo nuclear division. In every stage, till now, it is in the sporozoids form. Okay. The sporozoids, after entering into the hepatic cells of liver, it will start undergoing nuclear division. And now it is going to attain the next stage. That stage is called as schizone stage. After attaining nuclear division, now the stage is called as schizone stage. Okay. So this schizone stage, now after attaining the schizone stage, then now this is one stage. Okay. After sporozoids, now it is present in the schizone stage. Okay. Now after attaining the schizone stage, again multiple division will take place. Multiple continuous division will take place, and this division is called by the term called as schizogony. The name of the division is called as schizogony. Multiple division which occurs is called as schizogony, and as a result of this schizogony, now that the next stage is called as cryptozoids. The next stage is called as cryptozoids. Now this is the third stage. Okay, cryptozoids. Now this, once the cryptozoids are formed, now the cryptozoids will start rupturing your hepatic cells, and it will come out of hepatic cells. Because you know the sporozoids, they entered into the liver and they entered into the hepatic cells. Inside the hepatic cells, first they undergo nuclear division to form schizone stage. Then it will undergo schizogony, that is multiple cell division to form cryptozoids. Now after the formation of this cryptozoids, now the cryptozoids will rupture the hepatic cell and it will come out. It will rupture the membrane. See, these are all hepatic cells, means it will rupture the membrane of the hepatic cells and it will come out of the hepatic cells. Okay, it will come out of the hepatic cells and it will come out, but it will not get enough nutrient outside the cell. So what it will do, again it will re-enters into hepatic cells. It will come out, again it will re-enter into hepatic cells. You should not say enter into hepatic cells, because already it has entered. Okay, now it is coming out and again entering into the hepatic cells. So you have to call it as re-entering process. It will re-enter into hepatic cells and again it will continue its divisions. Again further divisions will take place. Now these divisions, now it will result in a next stage that is called as metacryptozoids. Okay, now the stage is called as metacryptozoids. This is the next stage. Next to cryptozoids, the stage is called as metacryptozoids. Now these metacryptozoids, again they will divide further. they will undergo further divisions. Okay, again they will undergo further divisions, and they now it will become small cells, and these small cells are called as micro meta cryptozoids. Micro meta cryptozoids. Okay, so cryptozoids, then to meta cryptozoids, and now the next stage is called as micro meta cryptozoids. Up to this, the divisions will take place in your liver. Now, after this formation of micro meta cryptozoids, again now it will come out of hepatic cells. It will come out of hepatic cells. Before it came out of hepatic cells, but it again re-entered. Okay, now it will come out of hepatic cells. Now it will not re-enter into hepatic cell, it will enter into RBC. So I will continue in the next slide. Up to this, you just write down. See, so please copy this slide so that I will continue in the next slide. So up to this, the divisions took place in your liver. Now, the next hereafter, what we are going to see are going to take place in your RBC cell, not in your hepatic cell. Hepatic cells will be present in your liver. RBC cells will be present in your blood. Okay. So, I will show you the fourth and fifth slide where the asexual reproduction started. So, asexual reproduction in man. Okay. So, first of all, a female Anopheles mosquito which is carrying the protozoa Plasmodium vivax in its salivary gland will bite a normal man. The man which got the bite of female Anopheles mosquito, the infective stage of Plasmodium that enters into the human body is called as sporozoites. So sporozoites now enter into human's blood with the saliva during the bite of mosquito. That is your female Anopheles mosquito. After entering, first it will enter into the blood, and there it will be in the blood for about half an hour. After half an hour, it will move to the liver. There in the hepatic cells, it will start undergoing nuclear division. It will attain a stage called as schizone stage. Again, multiple division will lead to cryptozoid. This cryptozoid will come out of hepatic cells and again re-enter into them. There, it will undergo further division to form metacryptozoids. This metacryptozoids again divide to form micro metacryptozoids, which are very small cells. And these micro metacryptozoids, it will come out of the hepatic cells totally. And this micro metacryptozoids. Micro metacryptozoids. Okay, we have to start from this. These micro metacryptozoids, they will come out of hepatic cells and now they will enter the RBCs, red blood cells. Okay, now it will enter, they will come out of hepatic cells and they will enter into the RBCs. Okay, now after entering into RBCs, the micro metacryptozoids, right, they will start feeding the hemoglobin. They will start feeding hemoglobin. It will start taking the hemoglobin as its food. Okay. And in this stage, after eating this hemoglobin, after feeding the hemoglobin, now the next stage is called as trophozoids. Now the next stage is called as trophozoid stage. Okay. After micro metacryptozoids, now the next stage is called as trophozoids. In this trophozoids, in trophozoid cell, slowly vacuole will appears. So far, there will be no vacuole in the cell. Now, in the trophozoid stage, it will start forming the vacuoles inside them, and this vacuole formation will form a stage that is called as signet ring stage. Now, the trophozoids, after the formation of vacuoles, it will form the next stage called the signet ring stage. This signet ring stage, now it will be looking like amoeboid cell. Amoeboid means, irregular. Okay. In this amoeboid, this is also called as one stage, students. And this amoeboid stage means irregular shape. It will be looking like this, irregular shape. Okay. So this amoeboid stage, in this amoeboid stage, it will start synthesizing a pigment. That pigment is called as hemozoin pigment. In this amoeboid stage, the cells will start synthesizing a pigment called as hemozoin pigment. And after this amoeboid stage, again, multiple nuclear divisions will take place in the amoeboid stage. Nuclear divisions will take place, and this nuclear divisions will start again giving you a stage called as sky zone stage. Already in the first we saw one sky zone stage. That sky zone, this will be differing from this sky zone. What is the difference in the sense? This sky zone stage will have some special granules in them, which we call it as Schuffner's granules. Schuffner's granules appears in the cytoplasm in this stage. Okay, Schuffner's granules appears in the cytoplasm of the cell. When the Schuffner's granules appear in the cytoplasm cell, it is called the sky zone stage. And now this sky zone stage, yeah, please copy it fastly, then I will continue. Right? Now this sky zone stage, next it is going to form some cells, further divisions. Okay, some divisions will occur and these divisions will produce the next stage that is called as merozoites. The next stage is called as merozoite stage. Okay, in this stage your RBCs will rupture and the merozoites with the hemozoin pigment will be released into the plasma. So after this formation of merozoites, RBC cells will rupture. As a result of rupturing of RBCs, the merozoites with hemozoin pigment, okay, with hemozoin pigment, already I told you hemozoin pigment will be synthesized in the amoeboid stage. With this hemozoin will be released into the blood plasma. So still now they were in the RBCs, right? Now when they rupture the RBCs and they will come out of the RBC cells and they will be released into the blood plasma. So far they will be present inside the RBC, students. Now once the RBCs got ruptured, the merozoites, with hemozoin, it will be released into blood plasma. In this particular stage, once the merozoite with hemozoin is released into the blood plasma, this is the stage where the person will be affected by malarial fever. This is the first time he will be affected with fever. Okay. So this malarial fever will happen after several cycles of all these process. Okay. After several cycles of all these process, so this malarial fever, that is once you don't need not to write the after several cycle, you just leave it, that will be confusing for you. Once the merozoites with hemozoin is released into blood plasma, immediately the person will be getting the malarial fever. The first malarial fever, that is first fever symptom will appear in the stage. So you write till this, I will continue. I will tell you. So I will tell you the incubation period later, okay? So that you will get to know within how many days it will take place to show the first symptom. So this is the period where the person will get the malarial fever and he will be getting some other symptoms of malaria also, right? Fine. So now I will continue. Once the person is getting malarial fever, right? I told you now the merozoites will be, when he will be getting the fever, what is the stage? The merozoites along with hemozoin pigment, merozoites with hemozoin pigment when released into blood plasma. Okay, when released into blood plasma, he or she will be getting the fever. That is the first symptom. Now, once when they rupture the RBCs and they are released into blood plasma, after coming to plasma, they will lose the ability of division. They will lose, hereafter they cannot divide. Okay, they will lose the ability to divide. Who? The merozoite cells, now they will lose the ability to divide once they come out of the RBCs. Now what they will do, they cannot divide out of RBC. After causing the symptom, again it will enter into RBCs. Again it will enter into RBCs. So you have to say re-enter because already it entered. Okay. Once they entered and undergone some division and again it ruptured the RBC and they came out to blood plasma. But when they came out to blood plasma, they were not able to divide because it will lose the ability to divide after releasing into blood plasma. So what they will do, again they will re-enter into RBCs. This time they do not divide because all their divisions are over. They do not divide. Okay. And instead of dividing, they will form gametocytes. They do not divide and form gametocytes. And now they will form two different types of gametocytes in the RBC, that is the microgametocytes and the macrogametocytes. The microgametocytes are the male gametocytes and the macrogametocytes are the female gametocytes. Always the ratio will be 1:2. If one microgametocyte is formed, two macrogametocyte will be there. Okay. If here it is 2, here it will be 4. Here it is 3, here it will be 6. So the ratio will be always 1:2. One microgametocyte means two macrogametocyte will be produced. Okay. So these gametocytes, this is the final condition of your plasmodium in human. Okay. So up to this, the process is over. Asexual reproduction is over in your human. Now, next we have to continue with the sexual reproduction in mosquito, right? Now later, what is the thing that is going to develop? The gametocytes that are formed, right? They will develop and they will involve in fertilization, and that is going to be the sexual reproduction. But sexual reproduction will not take place in man. It will take place in mosquito body, right? So up to this, man, that is asexual reproduction in man is over. Again, I will show you all the slides, students, from the life cycle. Okay, you just copy if you have missed any of the points. This is the fourth slide where we started the asexual reproduction of Plasmodium vivax in man. I will show only the asexual reproduction process now. So let me complete the sexual reproduction. Then I will show you from the beginning. We have 10 more minutes. We will complete. Okay. So this is fifth slide. This is fifth one. Continuation of fourth. Please write the names of the stages properly. They are very, very important questions for NEET. Sporozoites, then schizont, cryptozoites, metacryptozoites, micrometacryptozoites. Then sixth slide. From micrometacryptozoites, it will turn to trophozoites. Then amoeboid, then schizont, merozoite. Merozoite, when it is coming out of RBC, it will come out along with the hemozoin pigment. This is a toxin. This toxin is, when it is released in blood plasma, immediately the person will be getting the fever. And once he get the fever, right, the first symptom will be occurred. And this merozoite which comes out of RBC, it cannot divide outside RBCs. And it will completely lose the ability to divide. Okay. Once it loses the ability to divide, again it will re-enter into RBC. It will not divide again. Instead, it will start forming the gametocytes. It will form male gametocyte and female gametocyte. So male in the sense directly not male. Some gametocytes will be smaller and some will be bigger. The smaller ones are called as microgametocytes and the bigger ones are called as macrogametocytes. Okay. And this microgametocytes are going to develop into male and macrogametocytes will develop into female. Always the formation of gametocytes will be in the ratio of 1:2. Okay, fine. So now we can start the sexual reproduction in mosquito. Okay, sexual, please write the heading, sexual reproduction of Plasmodium vivax in mosquito. Fine. Now you have to continue with the life cycle. Okay. Now what you have this stages called as gametocyte. Now in human, the micro and macro gametocytes has been formed. The micro and macro gametocytes have been formed in the RBCs of man. In the RBC cell of the man, the micro and macro gametocytes have been formed, right? Now, if a mosquito, normal female Anopheles mosquito, is biting this person who is having this micro and macro gametocytes in his RBCs of blood, okay? Now, when a mosquito bites this person, when a mosquito bites the person carrying the gametocytes, not the normal person. Okay, he is an infected person now, right? This person is infected because he is having already, he got the malarial fever. So this man is said to be an infected man. He is not a normal healthy man. From the infected man, when a mosquito is biting this infected man, the micro and macro gametocytes which are present in the RBC of this infected man will now enter into the body of the mosquito. Okay, so the infective stage for Anopheles mosquito is gametocyte. The infective stage for man is sporozoite. Okay, because plasmodium enters into the man's body by means of sporozoites, and plasmodium enters into mosquito body by means of gametocyte. So the infective stage of plasmodium vivax in mosquito, if they are asking, you have to say gametocytes. Suppose if the question is the infective stage of plasmodium in human in the sense, then your answer will be sporozoites. Okay, please be careful, don't get confused. Okay. Yeah, I will show you all the slides from the beginning. Don't worry. Okay. So when a mosquito bites the person who is carrying the gametocytes, okay. Now what will happen? This gametocytes, no, it will be once the mosquito bites through the alimentary canal, that is from its mouth part, starting from its mouth part, this gametocytes will finally reaches the intestine. The gametocytes will finally reaches the intestine of mosquito, because when it is sucking blood from the person through the mouth part, it will enter through esophagus and other regions, crop, gizzard, everything, and finally it will reaches the intestine region of the mosquito. Now what will happen in the intestine region of the mosquito? Let me continue in the next slide. Okay, you please listen. Now what happens in the alimentary, I will simply tell you gut or alimentary canal or intestine, everything is going to be same. Okay, intestine is going to be one part of the alimentary canal or gut. Okay, so now in the alimentary canal or in the gut, what will happen? The gametocytes will travel. So microgametocytes, I told you, right? The microgametocytes which travel through the alimentary canal, it will develop into male gametes. It will forms the male gametes, and the macrogametocytes, once they reach the alimentary canal of the mosquito, it will produces the female gametes. The male gametes and female gametes will be produced. Okay, and this male gametes and female gametes, they will undergo fertilization in the alimentary canal of the mosquito. So fertilization will take place between male gametes and the female gametes in the gut of the mosquito. Between male and female gametes, fertilization will take place. As a result of fertilization, what will be formed? Zygote, right? And this zygote will be a motile zygote. So when it is going to be motile, the motile zygote is having a name called as ookinete. The motile zygote can be called as ookinete. Okay, so this ookinete, suppose this is going to be the motile zygote. Okay, this motile zygote, now it will be covered with the wall, because in the alimentary canal of the insects there will be alkaline medium. This alkaline medium will kill the zygote. So to protect the zygote, around the zygote there will be a wall formed, and after the formation of this wall, it is called as encysted oocyst. Okay, it is called by a term called as oocyst. What is this encystment? Encystment means formation of cyst wall around the zygote. First the zygote will form. The zygote will be motile zygote. The motile zygote is called as ookinete. And after the formation of this ookinete, there will be a wall formation taking place around the zygote to protect them from the alkaline medium of the gut. And this, after the formation of the cyst wall, now it is called as oocyst. Okay, this oocyst, now it will undergo meiotic cell division. It will undergo meiosis, and these meiotic cell division will result in the formation of sporozoites. Now, all these things are taking place, fertilization takes place, everything is taking place in the gut. Now, sporozoids will be formed in the gut, but the sporozoids again from the gut it will move upwards and it will come and it will get stored in the salivary glands of the female Anopheles mosquito. It will stored in the salivary glands of the female Anopheles mosquito. Now the sporozoid is there in the salivary gland of female Anopheles mosquito. When this mosquito, if it go and bites a person, if this mosquito bites a person, what will happen? Now you go to this slide. I told you Plasmodium vivax enter into the human body by means of the infective stage of Plasmodium called as sporozoid, which is present in the salivary gland of the mosquito. Now, if you come back, you will be going to the the thing, that is when the sporozoids formed in the gut, it will move and it will go and store in the salivary glands. Now, this mosquito, if it bites a person, again that person will become an infected person. That is where we started this process in your fourth slide from the infected man. Again, we ended up with infected man. Got it? So this is your life cycle of Plasmodium. Fine. So life cycle of Plasmodium, that is the sexual reproduction is very, very easy. Asexual reproduction in man is little bit difficult. See, after the micro and macro gametocytes, when they enter into the mosquito body, it will enter and through the mouth part, and finally it will reaches the alimentary canal. There in the alimentary canal, the gametocytes will form the gametes. The gametes will undergo fertilization, form zygote, and it is called as ookinete. This ookinete will form a wall around them and it is called as oocyst. This oocyst, after undergoing meiosis, it will form the sporozoids. This is the final infective stage of Plasmodium in man. And this sporozoid will go and store in the salivary glands of the man. And finally, this mosquito, when it bites a person, again the person will become an infected person. So your life cycle of Plasmodium is over with this. So now still we need to some more information about malaria. I didn't tell you about the incubation period, treatment, prevention, controls and all. So as we don't have time now, tomorrow I will discuss. Don't worry, only for Plasmodium you will be studying the life cycle. For remaining diseases and all, you won't study the life cycle completely. So fine, I will show you the slides from the beginning. So if you want to take a pic or copy the notes, you can do it right now. You have last 2 more minutes. So this is the first slide. Please listen. Those who came late to the class, please copy the slides or else you take snapshot and later you copy it in your notebook. Okay. Don't miss any of the slides. So this is the first slide of today's class. The second slide. Third slide. Fourth one. Fifth one. Yeah, we will be studying only the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax, not for all species of Plasmodium. Sixth one. Seventh one. So by this slide, your asexual reproduction is over in man. Okay. And now the eighth slide, sexual reproduction of the organism starts in mosquito. This is how it will enter into the body of the mosquito. And the last slide is how the sexual reproduction will take place inside the mosquito body. Fine. So hope you have copied and took the snapshots. Sixth one. This is sixth one. Okay, tomorrow we will see the remaining information about malaria. And other diseases and all we will complete soon. Okay, only malaria will take time. The remaining disease you will study only the causative organism and some important symptoms. That's it. Okay. Seventh. Yeah, I'm showing seventh one. This is eighth one. And this is ninth one. Okay, fine. Thank you, students. Meet you tomorrow.